a short wrap up. I've got no slide progression. Basically, I want to thank everyone for coming, and I hope you got something out of it that you wanted, some information, and maybe you got some extra information as well. And if you didn't, well, there's still lunchtime here, and maybe you can talk to some of the others that know a little bit more. I would appreciate, and I know the board would appreciate, some feedback about this year's Warpstock. And what I'm going to suggest is put it in an email, send it to president@warpstock.org. I'll get it, compile it, and send the comments out to the rest of the board. If you have positive comments, great. If you have negative comments, we would appreciate it if you found something negative, we'd appreciate it very much if you would give us a suggestion on how we could resolve that particular problem. If you have suggestions for next year, we'd also like to hear about that. As far as topics, although some of that has to be left until much later, closer to the time because of the way things keep changing. But if you could give us some suggestions of at least areas that you're interested in finding out more about, perhaps we can find someone who has expertise in a particular area who can actually present that. So I'd appreciate hearing from you on that. If you have any comments about the location this year and the hotel and facilities, I would appreciate hearing that. Those I will also pass on to the hotel unless specifically requested not to pass them on. But personally speaking, I found that they were very accommodating here and have done an excellent job. There are bound to be some little things that'll get to you, but not too much. But I would appreciate hearing about that as well. Or anything else related to Warpstock, you can send it to me at president@warpstock.org, and it'll get passed on to the appropriate people, such as the rest of the board. As I say, if there's something about the hotel that might be a positive suggestion for them on improvement, I'll pass that along too.
A few more dancing girls.
What's that?
I just said a few more dancing girls, that's all. Don't worry about it.
We have a no bay boot policy.
Yeah.
Sort of one thing that we couldn't control this year was the hotel price, which was reasonable in Canadian dollars at 116, and at some points after we had arranged it, it was down to the point where you'd be paying about $82 or $83 US with the exchange. Unfortunately, due to increases in the economy in Canada and your friend Donald Trump down south, the exchange rate has changed markedly, and I think it was $92 or $93 that I saw the other day, US in exchange, which is still a bargain when you consider that we were paying, several years ago, we were paying $130 a night, so to speak. So price-wise, it worked reasonably well, not as well as 2001. Because 2001, the dollar difference then was something fierce, and for every $100 Canadian, you had to contribute $67.50 US. Equivalency, that's what it was back in 2001. So anyways, little historical fact. Now, we originally had a system whereby we would have some sort of giveaway at the end. I didn't think we were going to have anything this year, and Lewis came, and we have some relics to give away.
I cannot tell a lie, that was donated to us. That's not mine.
Right. So, I don't know, we're not gonna do a draw for it, but I'm gonna say, hold up the item and you can say if you want it, you got it, and if you got more than one person wants it, then
You fight.
You fight till
the two of you, if there's two people, you work it out between you. One of the things that we got was the infamous OS2 mousepad.
What?
the most part. Who wants the
I
most?
know, I turned around because the dearth of hands was definitely.
What more stuff?
So, no one interested?
Well, if there's no, but, yeah.
Oh,
Well, then he'll.
you have a acceptor passing to your right.
Actually, those were good sturdy mousepads.
Yes.
I really goes my
We have an OS2 pin.
Was to 1.x thing.
What is it?
1.x is the logo of the 1.x.
Okay, this is, like I said, we have some relics here. And finally, going back to the very early days, a key tag.
I'm ready to fight for it.
Weird.
Who wants?
Yeah.
and the bad news is MSOS2.
Oh, but it's a 1.0.
The
It's a relic.
lunch today will be served at 12. There were some people that asked for box lunches. I was informed that they will be available about between 11:15 and 11:30. That's the box lunches for the people who had to leave early. The rest of you, the lunch will be in here. It is officially titled on the menu, it's a wrap. And that's basically what you're getting is wrap sandwiches, soup, salad, and probably some dessert. And the snack that would have been put with this afternoon's break is supposed to be brought out at lunchtime. So I wish you all a safe trip home. Those of you that are in a hotel room and leaving, checkout time was officially listed as 12 noon. If you had the membership card for, what is it, IHG
IHG rewards.
rewards, it was supposed to be possible to extend your checkout time till 2 p.m. if they don't need the room.
So you go upstairs and sign up for that thing, and
Which,
you could probably go sign up for it right now.
if you sign up for it online.
Yeah.
I am a member, and they would only extend me till 1.
Really?
One
Yeah.
And you had to ask first.
One other comment with the hotel, Martin was commenting that he had booked to stay afterwards, and they were going to charge him the higher rate. We have it in the contract with the hotel that the Warpstock rate applied 3 days before and 3 days after.
Yep.
He already talked to the manager and there was no issue with that. Yeah,
No problem.
So
Thanks.
that problem was settled there. It's
Yep.
probably a lack of communication between the management and the desk staff.
It took me 3 phone calls originally to make sure that before and after was all for that price. They did it all and everything else, but, you know, it was 20 minutes on hold while somebody was out there talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
Me too.
I very specifically, when I was dealing with the contract, made sure that we had those days in. Some hotels are more generous and they'll give you 5 days before or after, but 3 is pretty much standard. But if you're ever booking it for a group and negotiating it, make sure that they put it in the contract. That way, there's no argument. So, unless someone has any questions or comments now, yes?
For those of us who have late afternoon or evening flights and or buses, how late are we allowed to stay in this room?
I was informed that there is a 24-hour hold on this room for this group.
So we can stay here all afternoon?
Yes.
Yeah, we have this room for 3 whole days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Now, the only catch is going to be if it comes up, I don't know, 6 o'clock or thereabouts, you may get the bum's rush from the cleaning staff.
Yeah.
The move command
Yes.
is on the same
So,
disk.
looking forward,
Does not move
are we
the file.
planning to have a Warpstock next year?
Just change the
Promise?
Current plan is yes.
Okay, so then my
Disk.
question is,
It comes with the same.
from your
That's not how it
experience,
worked when I used it.
what is the
Well, that's what it
sensitivity
specifically says in the help.
in terms of the
Well, that's
attendees,
not what actually happened.
the hotel price and to the location in North America? Can you give us some insight into that? In terms of generated attendance?
We haven't really worked that one out. We've, of course, seen deterioration over the years in the numbers. Of course, none of us are getting any younger, so some of us have,
Yeah, I think it's better just to ask in the room, you know, if the hotel price were 70% higher, would that deter you from coming?
yeah. We can put a questionnaire on the Warpstock website.
But we have them all right here. If you just raise hands or something,
We
it's
don't
so
want-
simple.
We don't want Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Not for a while.
And by the way,
There may be a flood sale.
just a side comment, you mentioned Mar-a-Lago. There is a Trump, there, quote, was a Trump hotel in Toronto that has been sold by Trump and family, and they have taken the Trump signs off of the building. I looked at a listing, and, well, it was sort of an appropriate number per night, $666. That number that's sort of tied in with the devil.
Antichrist.
Look, the reason I ask is, last year I gently floated an idea about doing something in Boston, and I found a place which offered us a terrific deal, because it's normally an expensive town, but they just opened, they were looking for people, so you didn't choose that. Then I had a relative visiting me, and I put him, he was interested in some historical stuff, so I put him outside of Boston at a historic hotel, a beautiful place, it's more than 200 years old. He only paid $125 for this gorgeous historic property. It's in Concord, Massachusetts. Okay, so a place like that, there may be some issues about the transportation, I think it'd be worked out, but we might be able to work out some deal and and I'm always thinking about the social events that we had in the past that were so interesting. This place, the social event, we just a walking tour around this historic place where the first battles of the American Revolutionary War were fought, and all kinds of interesting things. The Alcott House, Little Women, things like that. So, but the problem is the number would be more than we're paying, but not a lot more. But are there problems about getting people to go to the Northeast? Is that, are people against that?
I can't say specifically because we've tried to spread it around in different parts of North America. And we come back to certain locations that have been popular, but it's hard to say because just as many people will argue against some places for another. And basically, we look at not only the availability and price of the hotel, but we look at the proximity of the hotel to a major airport. Because the majority of people at most Warpstocks fly in. And the majority of people attending Warpstocks over the years have come strictly for the event. So they come maybe the day ahead and they leave maybe on the final day or the next day. And so we need that proximity to hotels that to help. And things are put to the board when we have suggestions, and we try to come up with a solution that will fit.
So, for example, the package, you said this uses different pricing deal with the hotel. How does something like this compare with what I thought was the very successful experience at the Drury hotels, which was a kind of an interesting variant?
Yeah, the Drury hotels did an excellent job. And I keep getting emails from them telling me about new hotels they're opening. They're spreading out.
They tend to be in the south, I think, breweries.
They tend to be the east side of North America and strictly US. And there's a lot of them in the south and in the Midwest. But, you know, basically we look at past results when we're discussing a particular item. And I mean, we've had suggestions that, well, we had one suggestion that would have put us something like 60 miles away from the nearest airport. And it wasn't a big major airport, so there could be problems getting in. So that's why we've tended to stick with places where they're near a major airport. I don't know, I don't think we've ever come up with a cutoff, but I know one of the things that gets looked at is how many airlines fly into that airport so that it's available to most people. If you have suggestions for location, by all means, email address is the same, president@warpstock.org, and I will pass them along. And if any suggestions come in, we will indeed consider them. I don't say we'll accept it up front, but we'll at least consider it.
And you still use that company that kind of arranges everything?
No, we haven't.
Oh.
Ben.
Not in a while.
Oh.
We do it ourselves.
So you do it yourself.
We've been doing it ourselves, and so far it's worked reasonably well.
What company? I'm just curious. A company for organizing?
We used a meeting planner for a few years.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, she takes care of acting essentially as hotel liaison and negotiating a good price for us and a good deal based upon her experience in the area, so she can
A kind of a travel agent.
kind of a travel agent, but she doesn't do anything about booking travel. She only books events.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, we've tried that route. Mind you, I was very happy when we went to Portland, and she was doing the job for us, because she put the pressure on the hotel after they allowed our projector and other equipment to be sold.
3.06.
And we got enough to replace it, so.
The thing is,
Anyways,
those people get a percentage of the.
Unless there's someone has something else, I don't have anything else other than to wish you a safe trip home and enjoy your It's a Wrap lunch.
All right.
Multiple times a day. The 3 what the version you said was. This is what ships.